What's up, guys? It's Gary with Fresh from the Farm Fungi. We are going to be making some mushroom ramen today. So we've got our pot for boiling the soup, and then we've got another pot for doing our soft-boiled eggs, and we've got some broccoli, and then some ramen broth, and we got some top shelf ramen that we use for the noodles, and some amazing Enoki mushrooms and some Shimeji mushrooms, and we've got some Pioppini mushrooms too. So we're gonna start off just by adding the broth. You can see it's like a milky, almost like a creamy broth. And then we'll start cooking that. And then we'll start boiling the eggs. You want an inch of water above.
To a boil.
Alright, so inch of water. We've got an inch of water in here. Hello, we're making some mushroom ramen. And we're doing our soft boiled eggs next to our broth. So we've got a bunch of ramen broth in this pot here, and we're gonna add some salt to the pot for the soft-boiled eggs.
Do you have the eggs?
Yeah, they're over. Eggs are over there. My wife's gonna be helping a little.
Where are
They're right there. So we've got the eggs, and then we've got a lot of mushrooms here. So I'm gonna go get some more broth, or we actually, yeah. I'm just gonna get more light broth. Two more.
they? I can go get them. I just want to. So it says once it boils, 6 minutes exactly.
Alright.
And then take them out and put them in cold water.
Alright, so we've got our eggs, which are important for ramen. They add, a lot of protein and that egg yolk flavor, which is a staple in ramen. So we're going to soft boil our eggs, which is a little bit different than hard boil. We filled it up with an inch of water, and then we're gonna boil it for 6 minutes and then put them directly into cold water. So I've got a strainer right here that as soon as they're done soft boiling, we'll put them right into the strainer. And you can see we've got our soup boiling a little bit. I really love these Enoki mushrooms in my ramen. They're really nice and they have like a firm texture to them. So I basically just blanch these in the soup, and they've got a really sweet flavor. And Enoki is one of the healthiest mushrooms. It's got a lot of beta glucans and a lot of healthy substances. And we've also got some Pioppini mushrooms here. So these are agrocybe, and they smell really, yep, these are all mushrooms that we grow. So we've got a new strain of these beach Shimeji. They're white Shimeji mushrooms, very sweet flavor. Then we've got Enokis and Pioppini mushrooms, and we grow all these ourselves. We're going to be shutting down for the winter, and these are kind of like the tail end of our mushrooms. So I like doing a bunch of Enokis at the end of the season, mostly just because I like making ramen, but they're really good for colder weather, and I usually get about a pound per 5-pound bag, so they're really good yielders as well. And then this is our Shimeji mushroom, which I've been working on for about 8 months now, and I feel like I've got it dialed in, so we're gonna be probably producing these next year. And they're one of my favorite. They smell really sweet and almondy like the Pioppini mushrooms, but they're much softer in texture, almost like the Black Pearl Kings, but really yummy. And I'm just waiting for this broth to start boiling, and we've got some of our Life broth as well. So we partnered up with Life Broth, and they used our lion's mane mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, and shiitakes to make this broth.
There's only one batch though.
Yep, so this is our only batch that we made. But we're gonna be adding this to our soup. And our beach mushrooms, we grow those just like our chestnut mushrooms. So if you look back in our videos on how to breed mushrooms from spores, we just top fruit them just like the chestnut mushrooms. That's it. Oh, they're already at seasoning. That's alright. We'll throw it all in there. Alright, so normally the mushrooms will take a little longer than the noodles to cook. So we'll start off just by placing our mushrooms into the mushroom broth. Thank you. Thanks for watching and following along. So we're gonna be trying to do Fungi Friday every Friday from now on, and we're mixing it up with different content. I would like to have, guest speakers, some of my friends here in Denver who are really involved in the mycology community, and we're gonna try to just create more of a like-minded community of mycologists. So stay tuned for more, but right now we're just making some mushroom ramen. Alright, so I added another, we've got 3 liters so far of our mushroom broth. And you can see it's really dense broth. So those are the biggest mushrooms, and I'm gonna let them start cooking a little earlier. So I basically just cook my mushrooms based on their density. The larger mushrooms, like these Pioppini, are gonna take the longest to cook. So I'll just start off with those. And those have a really nice almond aroma to them. So it's very nutty flavor. And then I'll start off by doing these beach Shimeji mushrooms next. So some of the larger ones you can cut in half, like this one. I'm just gonna cut this in half so it cooks a little better. And you can see we've got these Shimeji mushrooms. So this is a hypsozygus, just like the brown beach, but it's a white phenotype. So I really like these mushrooms. They got a nice flavor. You can see they've got almost like that turtle shell cap to them. But they'll go right into the soup. Alright, so we've got a pretty nice mushroom broth going right there. I like to save the Enokis for the very end so that they still have a little crunch to them. And we've got our soft-boiled egg. We've got the pan over here for that, and then this is our pot for the mushrooms. So I'll start with the soft-boiled eggs next, and we've got six eggs. Oh, hold on. All right, we're doing 4, so 4 eggs. Sorry about that. And we'll just put them in there for 6 minutes. So 1 inch of water. And we'll get those soft-boiled eggs going. So next, I'm gonna add some broccoli. I like some fresh broccoli to the broth. Just add some more texture and some more nutrients. So we got some fresh broccoli here that we're gonna be adding to the mushroom broth. So this is really starting to get going. You can see some beautiful Pioppini mushrooms, and we got the Shimeji and our soft-boiled eggs. And once this gets going to a boil, then I'm just gonna add my instant ramen. So we like to use these just because of the noodles, but it actually comes pre-seasoned, which we didn't know, but we'll be adding these shortly to the soup. And I found a little substrate, so be careful when you're mixing in your mushrooms that you don't add any substrate. So now that I'm waiting for that to cook down, if anyone has any questions or suggestions for future Fungi Friday, we're open to suggestions, and any guest speakers that would like to join, just feel free, shoot me an email, and I'm gonna start to get some topics lined up for the winter. We're actually going to be doing some mushroom classes in Castle Rock and Denver starting January 16th is our first class, and we just finished remodeling a property down in Castle Rock, so we're going to have a brand new lab set up down there and a nice area for doing lectures, and we're really excited to be working with our friend Zach. So stay tuned about that. We're gonna do 1 online class per month as well. So me and Zach are gonna do live instructions, and we're gonna put that open to the public. So it looks like someone had commented. All right, well, I appreciate it. So one of the issues that we're going to be trying to work on for next year is to just do more live content like this, and we're also trying to improve our videography. We do all of our videos off my iPhone, so it's super convenient, and I feel like I always have my iPhone on me, so it's easy to just film things on the fly. But if I start to establish more of a regular schedule, then maybe I can tweak my videography a little bit better and make things a little more professional. But for right now, we're just focused on the content and gathering like-minded people. I've learned a lot from the community so far, and I really enjoy answering people's questions and Some people have even sent me some cultures or mushrooms to clone, which is super exciting. I never expected that. So that's another avenue. Perhaps in the future, I would like to start a mushroom trading culture world or something like that, where people would be able to trade cultures and we can, gather a really deep base of genetics. So we've got 2 minutes left on our soft-boiled eggs, and it looks like our mushrooms are definitely cooking. So I'll show you the broth so far. You can see, can't smell, but it smells amazing. It's got almost like a sweet anise flavor or aroma, so that's really good. And about 45 seconds left on the eggs. So I'm gonna add this instant ramen. Alright, so we got our noodles in there. I'm gonna help with those soft-boiled eggs. Alright guys, so we've got our soft-boiled eggs that are done, and we're just gonna take those off the heat and move them to the strainer, and we're pouring cold water. And we're just shooting for a cooked egg white and then a softer yolk. So we'll let those just sit in the sink for a little bit and cool off, and we've got our broth cooking here. So I'll set the timer for 5 minutes, and we're gonna cook down those noodles, and then probably with about 3 minutes to go, I'll add the enoki mushrooms, and then hopefully these eggs are where we're shooting for, soft-boiled eggs. So this is it's always an experiment in this household. And we got some Voodoo Ranger IPA, New Belgium up in Fort Collins, one of my favorite beers. Really nice smell.
Agreed. Smells delicious.
Lots of color. Give you a closer look at this mushroom ramen in the works. So if there's any other recipes that people are interested in, I know that one of our most popular recipes this year was the lion's mane crab cakes. So basically you rip apart lion's mane and then add breading, and you can bake them and they get really crispy that way. That's another really good mushroom dish, but I think that ramen is an easy go-to, and especially after Thanksgiving, it's a little bit of a lighter meal. So got about 4 minutes left. And we also just put a bunch of our wild mushrooms on Etsy. So if you're interested in experimenting with some chanterelles or morels or porcini, we've got those on liquid culture. I'm going to be doing a series on some of the different methods for cultivating mycorrhizal species over the winter and into the springtime. There's some really cool articles that came out in September, and I know that there's a few companies that are successfully cultivating porcini, so I think that it's possible, and I would like to explore that. All right. So, boiling before sauteing. Usually I'll saute my mushrooms before I use them in a dish, but because I like the Enokis to be a little bit more crunchy, I'll just quickly blanch those, and then these ones are boiling, and it's mostly for the flavor. So yeah, as far as cooking mushroom goes, it's kind of a texture preference. The Shimeji are going to get really soft, and they match the texture of the soft-boiled egg really well. And then the Pioppini have an almond flavor, so that's going to get brought out in the broth. And the texture on those is kind of similar to asparagus, so if you like to steam your asparagus versus sauteing it versus baking it, it's just a preference. So we got 2 minutes left. I'm gonna throw these enoki in, and basically I'll just kind of break them up with my hand and toss them in the top. And they have almost a texture like bean sprouts, so a nice firm texture. And they're gonna take over this ramen. Alright, so that looks perfect, and we've got, I'll turn that off the heat. We've got our noodles and our enoki mushrooms and a shimeji and some fresh veggies in there. And it looks like my wife's got some soft-boiled eggs. This one's good, this one's not so good, but we got 2 more to work with. So it's always an experiment here. Alright guys, so the next step is just divvying out this soup into different bowls. And we got these wonderful ramekins here, so try and top it off with some of these enoki mushrooms. And a soft-boiled egg. Alright. So I'm gonna move this.
You can cut it.
Alright. Alright guys. Yeah, so we love king trumpets. That's a really cool idea. We like bacon wrapped scallops, and king trumpets have a very similar texture and flavor to scallops, but a lot of people can't eat shellfish, so it's a really good substitute. And usually we'll just, you know, coat them with butter, but it sounds really, really unique and probably a really good way to eat those mushrooms. So I'll be interested, and I'm gonna go Google some recipes for that. We got some ramen divvied out here. My wife's just working on that last soft-boiled egg. Alright, so I guess the first one will be mine because it's kind of sloppy.
Yes, this one's good.
Alright, and then we've got
Got a winner.
a winner over here.
Got a winner.
Alright, so then I'll just divvy this out. Alright, so we're just finishing up our mushroom ramen now. And
You should cut them.
yeah, cut them on there in here.
Yeah. See them all oozy. Perfect.
Alright, so there you have it. Mushroom ramen with Enoki mushrooms, Pioppini, Shimeji, some soft-boiled eggs. Take a look at the broth. And I wish you guys could smell this broth right now. It's so earthy and sweet, and it smells like almonds and ramen. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and stay tuned for more Fungi Friday. This is one of our favorite ways to cook our mushrooms, and it works with pretty much any mushroom, so ramen is always a good go-to. And until next time, much love. All right.